Hi, my name is Anna Alcorta, and I will be briefly discussing the contract negotiations between the five main characters of the highly acclaimed Big Bang Theory sitcom and the Warner Brothers television network and studio. The Big Bang Theory has been going strong since 2007, which airs on CBS network weekly through when it is in season. It is recorded in front of a live studio audience in Warner Brothers Studios in Burbank, California. And in May of 2014, after 7 very successful seasons, the 5 main characters' contracts were up and they were ready to renew in a very big way. Jim Parsons, Kelly Cuoco, and Johnny Galecki were trying to get $1 million per episode in their new contracts, and Simon Helberg and Kunal Nair are supporting actors, yeah, main actors, but they were trying to get at least $500,000 and an increased pay raise as the seasons go on from there. With such big money in the works, the cast's best outcome of this negotiation would be a pay raise and back end deals, and they would keep their job. The company can keep their highly acclaimed TV sitcom, but they can also try to keep the $1 million per episode characters under $1 million, and if they could possibly keep the show running as long as possible under their own contract criteria, they could. The worst possible outcomes for this show, for this negotiation, would be that the cast members could lose their jobs, and if they wanted to keep their jobs, they could settle for less money. The company could lose one character or possibly all characters and possibly lose their biggest their biggest and most successful television series on their network. They could gain bad publicity from this, and they could potentially pay out more than what they wanted. Now, the reason why this contract was made or was in such negotiation deals was because these television's $1 million trio be Jim Parsons, Johnny Galecki, and Kelly Cuoco. Without them, the show would not exist and could not move forward. Jim Parsons won 4 Emmys and 1 Golden Globe for his portrayal as Sheldon Cooper on the hit series The Big Bang Theory. So he kind of has an upper hand, unlike Kelly Cuoco and Johnny Galecki, who play Leonard and Penny. They have no prestigious awards like that, but with 7 seasons and very highly rated and very highly viewed shows, they have the upper hand to the studio to get that $1 million contract. You have Simon Helberg who plays Howard and Kunal Nair who plays Raj. These guys are main characters, yes, supporting characters. The studio and the writers were in talks of axing their characters altogether to save money for production, but ended up wanting them back. So they made roughly around 100,000 before this contract, and afterwards they want to make anywhere from 500,000 on up. And the ladies on the left, Bernadette and Amy, they are add-ins to the show. They came in around season 2 or 3, and they played girlfriends to Howard and Sheldon. They are now regulars on the show, and they negotiated separately from the 5 main characters because they knew that they weren't needed characters. So they had received an increase of 20 to 30,000 per episode, with a steady increase till their new current contract ends. So by the time they would end, they would make roughly around 100,000 by the time their current contract will come up for renegotiation. Some objective criteria that could be used in this negotiation was, again, Warner Brothers had friends who they paid the entire cast of 6 $1 million an episode. So you can kind of see where Jim, Johnny, and Kelly got the notion to ask for that much money per episode. And another reason why is because in 2014, The Big Bang Theory was television's #1 show, and it was also the highest rated show since the Friends have sign-off episode. So they are in the rankings and in the criteria of Friends, which was a very successful running show for Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers kind of already knows the ins and out of the negotiation that the Big Bang Theory cast is trying to make with them. And for the sake of Jim Parsons, the Modern Family was going through the same negotiation issues during the time in 2014, and they've won quite a few more Emmys, and their adult actors saw a boost in their contract pay because of their Emmy wins. So that's a good leverage for Jim Parsons to ask for that $1 million per episode. And in the outcome, I say it was a very successful negotiation and contract deal. Jim, Johnny, and Kelly all got $1 million per episode. Simon and Kunal all got they both got 500,000 range. And in 2016, their pay increased to 900,000 per episode. So they had a gradual increase, just like the two ladies did in their contracts. So you would think that 100 or 1 million, I should say, per episode is a lot, which it is. But in 2014, the network, Warner Brothers Network, was expected to make 1 billion in profits. So if they going to make 1 billion just about every year, 1 million per episode, 500,000 per episode is not going to hurt them that well, especially when the Big Bang Theory generates so much revenue for Warner Brothers brand. And so, all in all, America still has one of its favorite TV shows, and it's a win-win for both parties. One of the only things that was wrong with this is because the ink was not set and dry on their contracts. The season 8 was halted a little bit. It was delayed. The production was delayed due to negotiations weren't made. That was about the only bad thing to come from this. But all in all, the Warner Brothers gets to profit tremendously. The cast keeps to keep doing what they're doing, make their money, and then some. And being able to visit Warner Brothers over the winter and seeing how much pride they take in the Big Bang Theory and the success of it, you can tell that the 2014 negotiation between Warner Brothers and the cast of the Big Bang Theory was a very successful negotiation.